This week on the Sega Lounge, we talk Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. The recent PS5 exclusive network test gave us a look into the game, and we're sharing our impressions, excitement, and worries. Hello and welcome to the Sega Lounge. This is a podcast all about Sega in all of its forms, the music, the games, the community, and all things in between, frankly. We've been doing this for over 10 years, and this is episode 249. I'm Casey, I'm your host, and as you can see, I'm not alone. No, I'm joined by two legends in the Sega community. We have head of Radio Sega, GreenViper8. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello. And over there, we have legendary Twitch affiliate, LimeReversed. Hello, welcome.
I got it the right way.
That way, yeah.
Yeah. Welcome, Lime. How are you guys doing?
You. I'm doing good.
Great.
Yeah? Excited? Yeah?
Oh, so excited.
So excited.
Talk about a game we've not been able to play for weeks at this point.
Yeah, that's true. So we're trying to record this as close to the event that we'll discuss in a few seconds as possible. However, people will be hearing this a little bit later. But I thought it would be important to discuss this for people who haven't, like myself, haven't been able to take part in this. So, as you guys know, we have been blessed by Daddy Sega with an announcement at the Game Awards 2024 of Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. At the time, and we talked about this on the show at the end of the season, we didn't know what that would entail. Would that be like a new Sonic or Team Sonic Racing? Like, would it be more of like a Sonic and All-Stars Racing transformed? It turns out, yes and no, I think. That's the answer. And we'll discuss that at length today. And a few weeks ago, Sega opened like a sort of a closed beta event for PlayStation 5 owners who wanted to apply and take part in this event and try out the game for like a weekend, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Like Friday to Sunday, I believe.
Yeah,
21st to the 23rd.
Midnight Monday or something.
Something like that. So the 21st of February to the 23rd, I believe, or 4th. And I know you guys took part. I didn't because I don't currently own a PS5. And so this episode is all about that. I want to hear your thoughts. I'm excited to know more about this game. And hopefully it'll be what I want it to be. And I guess the answer, and not what I don't want it to be. And again, the answer is yes for both things. It's going to be both, good and bad, I guess. But I'm getting ahead of myself.
Like, without saying anything, like from our experience, what do you want it to be, and what do you not want it to be?
Listen, I'm a simple man. I just want another transformed. That's about it, right? Yeah. I get that people like to innovate and try out new things, especially dev teams. But I would be glad with like a Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed Deluxe or something like that with added characters and a few tweaks here and there. That would be enough for me. Yeah. But I guess that's not really the case. There's some innovation here, but we'll get to that.
There is indeed.
Yeah. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is just like general thoughts of this experience. Did it go well? Like overall thoughts on the game. Let's keep it brief, and then we'll go more in depth with your thoughts. So let's start with you, Viper. Did you enjoy yourself this weekend?
Sure. Definitely enjoyed myself with the game. That, like I'm sure Lime will say as well, there's a few things I'd prefer if they went in another direction, but overall I'm very happy with what it is. It effectively, for all intents and purposes, is Sonic Paint over transformed with a couple, new tweaks you'd expect. Well, it's been 13 years or so. So a couple of things to bring it up to date, you'd expect. A couple like things to streamline it. But otherwise, that's pretty much what I wanted from the experience as well. And I came away thinking, yeah, I got that. It's simple fun for sure. I've had a good time with it.
Excellent. Yeah, Lime.
I absolutely agree. I had fun playing it. I want to go back to playing it. I want to go back and I want to specifically go back and do time trails so that I can figure out what to do, really. But yeah, also there are some choices there that I might not agree with. But some of those things might be also because I'm not very used to what they are presenting, and some things might just be about me getting used to those things as well.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? All very new still. So yeah, we're watching footage. So if you're watching the video version, we'll be showing footage from both Lime and Viper's experiences with the game. That you both streamed the game during the weekend, and you, as I'm sure we'll discuss, you actually ended up getting matched together at some point, and we'll watch footage of that as well. So let's get into the nitty gritty of this. Let's talk gameplay first of all. So if you guys had to compare this to Team Sonic Racing and Transformed, is it closer to the former or not? The latter?
Like the buttons are completely different by default. You gas with whatever you call, with the PlayStation version, you gas with the X button, for example, and then you don't have one joystick for the tricks anymore, but you do tricks with the joystick that you use to steer. For example, so there are loads of changes that like took some getting used to. Like it really became clear to me how used I was to the previous settings, and luckily you could change it back to that, in which I did. And after I did that, I had so much more fun because now it felt like I was in control a lot more. Not necessarily because one set of controls is better than the other, but just like when you're so used to one set of controls, then it was very difficult to and kind of confusing from that perspective to get into completely new controls. And yeah, I can't say that the new controls are objectively worse, but I had a worse time as a result.
But they are okay. But so just walk me through this. So you, how do you accelerate and brake? It's like not the triggers.
No. You press the X
it's
button.
Mario Kart.
Okay.
Yeah. So like this button.
Oh wait. Unit. So that's even better. Let's show people.
You gas with this button.
This one as well.
Okay. And do you use the triggers for anything?
Not really?
Yeah. You do. So. You do use it for drifting.
Oh, right? Okay.
So let's bring back up the demonstration unit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, accelerate here. Either one of these two. This is obviously mirrored. These are the right triggers. Either one of these two for drifting, and either one of these two for braking, I believe.
It's
been a few weeks.
What? Yeah. What wasn't it for items? I thought it was for items.
Maybe, I think items was on left trigger. I stayed with it, unlike Lime. Might be the reason
that's
I lost
what I'm saying.
Like
one trigger, one side was drifting, and the other side was items, right?
Yeah,
like when it came to the triggers. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so it's basically Mario Kart.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that was the goal of.
Okay.
Bring it back in line with Mario Kart.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe that's it, right? They're trying to get that audience to
exactly
hop on the Sonic racing train. Yeah. And that's
I mean, I've played a lot of Mario Kart, and I feel like it's still I still have loads of issues getting into this, so I don't think
because
it's that
you had your
similar
like
even.
transformed brain on.
Yeah, that's it. Was it
Maybe.
in the Sonic part of
Could
your
be.
brain rather than the Mario part?
Yeah, possibly. It's
Yeah.
just like
They're
if
two different
I shouldn't have
compartments.
had trouble getting into this kind of gameplay if it was like Mario Kart, because I played a lot of that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah,
But it'll probably be easy for people
remember.
who are Mario Kart
Yeah,
players only to get into
who
this.
are way more inclined that way. I think it's an easier
Yeah.
jumping on point
Okay.
of a control scheme, at least.
But the good news is, even if you don't really get on with this sort of like control style, you can change it back to the way it was before, right? So that's
which I was very thankful of.
At this stage, there was customization in terms of controls as well. So that's good news.
Yeah. Oh, and also if you do switch back, then you can use the the right controller, the right joystick. Sorry, for tricks for air tricks.
Of course. Yeah.
I think you can use it anyway. I think it's still active. You're just discouraged from using it on the new control scheme.
Yeah, but like you can't do that because like you're busy using this hand. For gassing. It's like you're not going to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get your point.
So like if you can't do that, you're still not going to do that.
That's true. But so how do you steer and perform tricks at the same time? That's something that's like mind-boggling for me.
Yeah,
or
it's
is
the
that
same
not
joystick.
the case?
So like it's
so
the same joysticks. Like you steer left, then you do air tricks left.
Okay.
Don't knock it till you tried it.
But wait, but in Mario Kart, you do use the right analog stick to tricks, right?
I think it's the bumper in Mario Kart 8. The same
I'm
one for
confused
drifting.
now. Is it?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'm pretty sure it's the bumper.
Yeah, I think it's a bumper too. Yeah, it's a bumper. Yeah, because it's the same button that you use to jump, and when you jump, you start the drifting. So like, you go up a ramp and then you press
that's
the
drifting.
Drift button.
That's drifting. But what about the tricks?
Yeah, but the thing is,
you're drifting in circles there.
When you drift, every drift starts with a jump in Mario Kart.
Yeah.
So when you press the drift button on a bump, then that's a jump as well.
Okay.
And you make tricks. So you make tricks, and you only do one trick only when you time the jump with the ramp.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, no, if there's like a long jump, you can do more tricks.
No,
Can't
you can only do the one trick.
No? Do I have my Sonic brain on as well? Maybe.
You can only do the one trick in Mario Kart, and it's when you time it with
and then
with
you get like that drift boost, right? Yeah, that's probably true. Okay. Interesting. So gameplay wise, apart from that, apart from like the controls, which you can customize, obviously, do you feel like Viper it's different from Transformed? Because I mean, Transformed and Team Sonic Racing basically felt the same.
Yeah,
I think, right? In a way, like it felt like the same style in a way. Transformed probably better, slightly better, but
definitely better.
Definitely better. Okay. But it didn't really feel like something completely new. Do you feel like this is the same, or?
I'd say to an extent. Like, it's way more different than each of those games is from each other, if that makes sense. Like, jumping straight from Team Sonic Racing into this demo, which I did the weekend after, having just finished the game again recently, it was definitely a bit of a learning experience again to learn everything this game has to offer, because of course you got the planes and boats back, which weren't in Team Sonic Racing, which was a big point in its favor. So you would think immediately go back in, oh, it's just going to be like reverting back to how they were in Transformed, because the driving's similar enough, but no, they're completely different. I think I said earlier, like everything's snappier, and that comes down to those control schemes as well. And well, definitely, if you're a long time player, it takes a bit of getting used to, so maybe a bit clunkier at first, almost. But I can see why they've made the changes. I definitely know a lot of people who are put off from Transformed, for example, due to how the plane controlled there. So it's had a pretty radical overhaul, presumably to help with like new players and things like that. But generally, I'd say pick up and play if you've, like Lime kind of has, if you've really got Sonic Racing Transformed and somewhat Team Sonic Racing brain. It does. There are some things you have to forcibly unlearn over the course of a couple matches, but otherwise the transition's pretty smooth, considering it's a completely new team and supposedly like new gameplay engine and stuff like that. It feels way more similar than I thought it would, given the context of its development and things like that, almost. So it's not as weird to get into as you might think, but definitely like some old habits die hard, and you've got to really get used to them. Like the trick system's really fast now. The plane, like I said, is completely different. The
trick system is fast if you use that that what do you call them? Gadgets?
Oh yeah, that's a whole.
Do explain.
Yeah, because like you have different power ups that you can add to your vehicle. Such as if you bump into someone, then you get a speed boost, and then you can then add that, and you have like a maximum of 6 different things that you can add, and some of those things take up more space. So if you use one that takes up 3 spaces, now you only have 3 left to add, for example. And one of them is to do air tricks faster.
Oh,
and that's what you see in the gameplay that we're showing. I had that activated basically at all times. Otherwise, it's twice as slow, the tricks that you do.
Okay, so these are like buffs, if you will, right? Like skills you can enable or something. They're called gadgets. Is that it?
If my memory serves me, yes.
I believe this is what you're referring to.
Yes, those. Yes,
okay.
Indeed.
Okay. So are they all unlocked, or were they all unlocked in this beta, or did you have to unlock them as you progressed?
Like all the gadgets that you see were unlocked, but you needed to, as you see there's a lock on the master. Like you needed to unlock slots to put gadgets into.
Okay.
By playing the game, but the gadgets themselves were there.
Okay. So I'm guessing in the final version of the game, there will be like more
gadgets, probably. Yeah,
there will be more, and probably you'll have to like get some XP or something like to unlock everything, not just the master thing there, the master slot. But also maybe the gadgets themselves.
Slot, maybe.
Yeah.
Or something like that. You'll be a bit more grinding, I imagine, than the public test version anyway.
And so the numbers above the gadgets, the 2, 1, 3, those are the slots that it...
Yeah,
the spaces, the slots that it takes.
Yeah.
Takes up. Okay. That makes sense. Okay. And these are different abilities and perks that you get for each race.
Yeah, they're set like on a permanent basis, but you can back out between races. Like the same way you change your character, you can also change your gadgets at the same time. As you can see there, you've got A through E at the top of that screen. I believe that's different loadouts. You can just quickly switch back and forth between like, oh, I've changed my character to Knuckles in a power vehicle. Oh, I want these set of gadgets or whatever. Like you're not forced to come into here, but you can change it each race if you want to. But you've not got much time between matches, so you should probably back all the way out if you're considering doing that.
Yeah.
You can get to it regardless if you want to, in like the lobby screen or whatever.
You can, though, not change this after you found out what the stage is. So you can't be strategic about what you use.
So maybe the best course of action here is to have like different loadouts and
that's what
quickly, like if you want to. because you don't have time between matches. You're online basically, so people can't be waiting for you forever.
It's your usual like Mario Kart situation again. It's a bit quicker than Transformed and TSR, where it's like 30 seconds. Everyone gets 3 tracks to vote from. So if you decide you want to change your character, then you might also want to change your loadout. That's really the only strategizing you can do based on who you're playing as. Like Lime said, there's really not enough time anyway. But once the course is locked in, there's no changing anything. So it's a pretty snappy matchmaking experience. I'm sure matchmaking will come up a bit later, but because of that, it kind of
it's okay. You can talk about it now if you want to. Sure.
I mean, not too much more to say about that specific bit. But yeah, no, I don't know. The matchmaking experience is far better than those games, I think.
Yeah.
Like, as someone who's out of all of the games, most predominantly, I still play the first Sonic Racing game, which I'm aware is a bit of a hot take, but that has a horrendous matchmaking experience. Host picks the track. Anyone in the lobby has no pick over anything. I especially appreciate in CrossWorlds. I think it was in Team Sonic Racing as well, but in CrossWorlds, anyone can play as any character. And that's something Transformed and Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing didn't have, which still really irks me. So I'm glad they kept that on going forward, because almost all my lobbies were Sonic or Shadow. So clearly it went a long way, basically. But
so you what you mean is by anyone can play as any character is there can be repeats, right? Which didn't happen before.
There's no limit on who, everyone in the lobby can be Shadow if they really want.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
For example, they can be as fearless or fearful as they wish.
Okay. So since we're talking about like gadgets and how those affect the racing and the gameplay experience, what about the vehicles and the stats of each vehicle? Does that change anything, or is it like character based? Lime? Viper?
Yeah, Lime.
Yeah, I mean, it does affect the abilities. It more, I think, affects what kind of vehicle that you choose. You can choose handling, you can choose speed, you can choose power, but then you can, if you choose speed, for example, then you can still customize that. But the changes that you make don't make like a dramatic difference. It does make a difference, but not like a dramatic difference to the abilities. So like it's like a smaller tweak, if you will, once you have chosen the type of your vehicle.
Yeah, for sure. I
so
mean,
what's the basic difference? Sorry, like does it like, because in Mario Kart you can feel the differences somewhat. So like if you pick like something like someone like Bowser, for example, like heavier to control, right? Does it feel the same way here, or like if you pick Knuckles as a power character, for example, or?
See, I'd say definitely in my experience, there is like different stats between characters. Like Knuckles will be a bit heavier than Sonic, but in terms of like the weighting, how much it'll affect him, I think for the most part, it kind of more leans towards. See, it more leans towards the cars. I think, thinking about it in my head.
Okay.
So each one does what it says on the tin. So you got speed, power, handling. You kind of get more of each depending on which one you pick. But there is still something in picking like a specific character, but definitely you can feel the difference stronger between the cars than you can between the characters. Like if I put, I don't know, say like Cream in a Sonic type car, a speed car, for example, like that would be less noticeable than if I put Sonic in the handling car or whatever, like vice versa. I think the car's definitely a stronger indicator of how it's going to control the character. At least from what I feel. I definitely seem to be contradicting on some points, but I feel like that's what I felt.
No, but I didn't feel like that much different when I tried different vehicles. Like I'm sure there is a difference, but I didn't really sense it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think everyone's gonna like perceive the controls in different ways almost.
Can that be because of the gadgets you had equipped?
That too, possibly, yeah.
Because that's
Could be,
probably
and-
I'm getting the sense that that's what really affects gameplay, what really changes things. It's which gadgets you equip at one
I think
point.
I think that too. I definitely think that the vehicle also does a lot. Like it, and me not noticing the difference could be because I'm getting used to the controls. Everything is happening
Yeah.
all at once at the same time. So like, I'm not gonna notice the possibly smaller differences really.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah. So because I was asking this because Viper, you mentioned you don't have time between races to say you want to pick a different character, and because of that, you should equip different gadgets. So it's not really about the character, more about the vehicle, right?
Yeah,
And
vehicle
maybe
and
you'll want
gadgets
to
are weighted.
adjust.
Like almost if you had like a pyramid, there we go, it's on the camera now. If you had a pyramid, it's like characters, vehicles, gadgets almost at the top in terms of like importance to control. Your style of racing is like very important in that. I think the biggest thing of all is just pick something you're comfortable with, because it definitely felt like, from my experience, because there's so many items at play at once, like something like power, which has a bit more resistance to items, might be handy, but at the same time I just couldn't control that. It was really difficult for me to control, whereas something like handling was arguably too much, so something like speed or acceleration was like straight down the middle. That was what I could control. Like there's no point, if you think on paper a vehicle's better, there's no point sticking yourself in it if you can't actually drive the thing, right? If you're just crashing into walls. So I think a lot of it
relevant
is
thing.
Yeah,
Sorry,
go ahead.
yeah, finish.
I don't know, go ahead.
You weren't finished, I interrupted.
Done.
Okay. One critical thing there is that power types can take paths that others can't, like in Team Sonic Racing. Like they can take some paths that have obstacles in them, and they can just power through them without getting slowed down. So that's a thing with the power types, at least.
Okay, like smash through walls or obstacles or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
indeed. That then leads to a boost that gives
which with another vehicle. I mean, vehicle or character vehicle, right?
I think vehicle.
Okay.
Yeah, if you choose a
this
power
is getting
vehicle,
a little bit confusing.
Then, yeah.
For sure.
I am guessing, but it makes the most sense to me. Like if whoever you are, if you have a power vehicle, you should be able to.
Yeah. And whereas with other types of vehicles, you just crash or like slow down.
Yeah, you get slowed down.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So since we're talking about vehicles and customizing things, you can actually combine different parts, which was something that happened in Team Sonic Racing somewhat.
Yeah, you could do that too.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
My memories of that game are a little bit hazy. Didn't play it very much, to be honest. But I do seem to remember you being able to combine like different parts of different vehicles. Does that affect anything? Can you like pick a part of like a power part and a speed part or stuff? Or do you have to like choose the same style of
I think you're locked
parts
into your style pretty much from what I remember. But as you can see on the right of the
it looks like that here.
Which, there are still parts that like, that will have more power flat out, but I don't think you can pick the power vehicle parts on the speed vehicle, for example.
Yeah.
But
like if you look at the bars there, like those like, that part adds this but takes away this, and the other part adds this but takes away this. But it's still like you see how small it is still? Like it doesn't affect a lot.
Exactly. The difference isn't that big.
You just put like a tiny bit into what you feel like you want more versus it changing the entire dynamic of the car or whatever. Like it's just a small boost if, actually I want a bit more handling because I'm finding this a bit hard to control, versus, this is suddenly a handling car and it's super slow or whatever.
Yeah.
Almost, I think, anyway. I didn't mess too much with the customization, to be honest. I'm never too much of like a tinkerer in these games.
Same. Yeah.
I like that it's there.
I'm guessing all these colors were unlocked for this version of the game, but in the final game, you'll have to unlock them as you progress.
Yeah, I think that's how it
guessing.
worked in Team Sonic Racing, so wouldn't shock me if it was the exact same here.
Yeah. And so you have paint, I'm guessing stickers, the next panel.
Yeah,
horns.
And you can do loads of things with those stickers. You can put them anywhere you want. You can resize them. You can turn them around. Like we do show that in the customization too part there, but it's very customizable. I don't think I've seen it being this customizable before. You can do so much with it.
That's something that for me, I'm like you, Viper. I'm not really that big into this, but there's many people I know. There's a big group of people who just love to tinker with this stuff. They spend lots of hours just like trying to get the vehicle that they feel like it's theirs. So I'm guessing this is a major plus for many people who are playing this game.
100%. Like the more customization, the better. I think for most people, anyway.
Yeah. So like you're obviously taking some time here, Lime. So
yeah. But I mean, like it doesn't like if it's there, it's fun to play around with. If there was a choice between them tweaking the gameplay more or adding this, then please tweak the gameplay more.
Sure.
Because it doesn't matter that much to me. But if it's there, then sure, it's fun to play around with. The only thing that I might, like the only thing that I might not really like is when the parts have different stats. Because now I need to choose between something that looks good but doesn't drive as well, or doesn't look good but drives very well. I don't like to compromise with that.
That's a very good point. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, for sure.
Like it's good that like the parts that you choose don't really do that much to the stats, but they still do something to the stats. And I kind of want a car that looks the way I want it to and drives the way I want it to.
Yeah, makes sense. And here we have the stickers, which are unlocked apparently with tickets, I'm guessing, which we have on the top right.
Yeah, that's just the reward at the end of the race kind of thing. Almost like the, if you remember the coin system from Transform that you use for the roulette, it's pretty much that.
Okay. Oh, you could actually like place them wherever you want and scale them, resize them.
I didn't know there was scaling. That's
okay.
That's
there's scaling, there's rotation, there's
Apparently, so many others did this exact thing, putting those eyes at the front. I thought I was the only one. Like, oh, hey, this looks awesome. I'm going to do
unique.
this.
I would do this.
Everybody else
instantly,
did it.
Yes.
But yeah, you can really put them anywhere you want. And it's, well, not anywhere you want, but it's
almost
a lot more movable than in previous
on the
games.
seat. No, not quite.
Yeah. No, but that's fun. That's fun for people who are into this. And I'm guessing I'll just like dabble a little bit with it when the game comes out at some point and never touch it again. But for people who like to be creative this way, it's really cool that they've added this option. Yeah, for sure. I know there's a lot of people who will be really thrilled with this option here. Yeah. Excellent. Okay, so we've talked about customization, like gameplay itself. There's a big part of the gameplay experience that is like the CrossWorlds mechanic, right? So that's like
you should probably talk about that.
We should probably talk about that. It's in the title, right? So
it's got to be important.
Who'd like to explain what that is for someone who hasn't played it?
Volunteer Lime. That way,
all the way to the right.
Lime had a lot of opinions on this when we spoke about it, so he goes first.
So in each race there are 3 laps as usual. The second lap, though, teleports you to somewhere completely different. And so you might start in a water palace, for example, and then the second lap you teleport to, let's say, Kraken Bay. Now you're in a pirate world and everything's raining and there's a kraken after you. And then the third lap you come back to the stage that you began at, and then finish the race. So basically that's what happens, and you get a choice. The person who is first and gets to the end of the first race, the first lap,
first lap,
first lap, gets a choice. They
like
have
we
two
can
choices.
see here.
Yes.
Perfect timing.
The one that the game gives you, or something completely random, like basically something else. So the game gives you the choice, either this or whatever else.
Okay.
So the one who's in first gets to choose what the second lap is going to be.
So it's only
that's
the second lap.
Only the second lap.
Yeah.
Yes.
First and third are completely normal for some reason.
So there's nothing. I assume like the third lap, you go back to the original stage, but things would have changed a little bit or something.
Yeah.
No?
Yes. Indeed.
Yes.
In some stages. No. In some stages, it's still the same world, but it's a completely different path that you're taking now. In other cases, it's just the same lap as you did with the first lap, but just still kind of just tweaked a little. Like some paths might be open now, for example.
Okay.
So it differs. Some are completely different. Others are the same, but with some tweaks. And some might just be the same.
The same
period.
Thing. Okay. Yeah. And so we can see that there's, for example, we started in Water Palace with a car, or in a car, and then we moved to I think Kraken Bay.
Yeah.
And then we had a boat section and then a plane section. Now we actually have a boat section as well. So there's not really is it like a little bit like in Transformed, different sections of the same stage have you using different types of vehicles?
Oh yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Like
that's
if
exactly
you remember
the same.
in Transformed, you could almost have alternate paths at points. Like I think.
Yeah.
What is it? I was going to say Egg Carrier. That's a completely different stage. Carrier Zone, for example, there was an alternate path you could go off to get to the plane early, but you could stay in the boat and go a bit late. I think Metal Harbor had exactly something like that. You're in the car, but there was like a path you could go off to the left-hand side that then you went to the plane early instead.
Yeah, Carrier Zone, yeah.
In Transformed?
Yeah, like the Afterburner stage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
which everyone thought Metal Harbor was.
Exactly. So it looks
right. Right.
Looks the same.
I was thinking like Egg Carrier for some reason. And I was like,
That's what I said. That's probably why.
That's what he said first, but then he corrected.
I see. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So it works the same then. So there's a little bit of a strategy to it as well. If you want to change vehicles.
There's some areas where you are all forced to be in the plane. Like some of the CrossWorlds are plane only, but quite a lot of them will change halfway through, and same with the normal stages as well. Like half a lap will be in the plane, half a lap will be in the boat or something. Yeah. It's identical in that sense, really, in terms of how the transformations work within the stage, I'd say. It's just like the little nuances of them. The actual format of how they work is pretty much the same.
Okay.
Aside from the whole CrossWorld thing.
Yeah,
and as you said, you in Metal Harbor, for example, there's going to be a fork in the path, and you can choose whether to go by plane or continue driving. For example, here it's a plane path.
That's it.
If you went to the right there, you're just going to continue driving and jumping on those jumps below.
Okay.
And then you go straight back to the car as well. So
yeah.
Sometimes just a short-lived diversion, for example. Other times a full lap of it or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds cool.
They are, that is cool, and there are definitely like thought through shortcuts as well. Like if you find them, they are there and they are designed to be there, and that's fun.
Excellent. Yeah. I'm mesmerized now looking at this footage here.
Suddenly interested.
You should definitely watch the video version of this. And so right here, Viper, you weren't in the lead, so you had to like go through the ring to
forcibly taken against my will.
So
to
there's no
jungle.
really, no real choice here apart from the person who's in the lead. That's kind of cool, I think. Yeah, it makes sense, right? Was it what you guys were expecting from this when we got like the CrossWorlds name and whatever information they gave us at first? Was it what you were expecting, or
not
I can tell you what I was expecting?
Go ahead, though.
See, like, I thought it was sounded very, very cool to just race through different worlds like that. I imagined, I think I gave this example before, like, let's say Sonic CD, it has time travel. And so let's say we pick a stage like Stardust Speedway. And let's say that's a track. Now, on the first track, maybe we begin in the present. And then the second path, we are taking to the future. And then we end in the past, for example. That's what I figured that it
But you wouldn't have a choice, right?
Yeah.
In that example.
Indeed.
Okay.
I didn't know about the choice back then, so that's what I imagined. Or the way they did it in the Nights to Dreams stage in Transformed, you still kind of teleport to different places, so there you travel in space rather than time.
Okay.
That's what I imagined, kind of. I didn't imagine a choice, and I didn't imagine that there would be places that would return from different stages. And that's, I guess, where I start being a little skeptical to it.
How dare you? This isn't the Skeptics Lounge.
But like, the thing is,
we're here to
you can choose a stage and then in the second lap get taken to Kraken Bay. Like, Kraken Bay is fine, but then when you choose another stage next time and still get taken to Kraken Bay at the second lap, because that can happen, then that's where I start to get a little skeptical and worried about that concept.
So that actually is a good point, and it reminds me of a question that I had. Are the choice, so there's always a random option, right? One of the rings is a random option, and the other one is an actual stage. Are the choice, or were the choices always the same in the same track? So if you're playing so if you played Ocean Palace,
completely different.
Twice or three times, you always had a different stage to choose.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like randomized, definitely. Then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you either get a random stage to choose from or a random stage to choose from, basically.
Exactly.
It's just that you know
one of them, you know which one it is.
Yeah, one of them you know, the other one you don't.
Yeah. So I compared this when they first showed this at like the State of Play thing. I was immediately reminded of Outrun, like the alternate paths, the easy and hard path you get at the end of each like section of the Outrun gameplays. This isn't exactly that, because you don't really have to choose between two tracks or stages that you know. You have one that you know and the other one is random. But it's kind of like that in a way.
For all intents and purposes, just with like a little more, there's a few more dice rolls in here or whatever. It's just a fancier way of doing that, basically, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Obviously, I want this to be more than just Sonic. Which is something that I also...
You're asking a lot here.
Yeah, that's why I also said, when I said I wanted this to be more like Transformed, that's one of the things involved in that, is that I want this to be more Sega and not just Sonic.
I think it is going to be.
They said
I peg my bets on DLC. being the crossover stuff personally. It's how Monkey Ball did it, so wouldn't
Could be.
I mean,
shock
I
me.
think that like a two-point museum. I think that's what it's supposed to
That's
be.
one of the stages,
Yeah.
right? We have
It's in
maybe
there already,
maybe
but
there are
it's-
some
yeah.
stages, but I don't know. It's
Wait,
supposed to be that.
Isn't one of them an airport? Is that the one you're thinking is the museum stage?
No,
Oh wait, no, it is a museum. Yeah, wait,
There's
Yeah.
one with like a
Yeah,
dinosaur skeleton.
yeah, with the skeletons and stuff.
I didn't realize
that
if
looks
that was meant to
exactly
actually-
like the dinosaur from Dinosaur Jungle.
because
just-
I know for a fact, or not a fact, but it's pretty much confirmed by most people that the lava stage, the flying one, I can't remember its name, is meant to be based off Galaxy Force 2, apparently.
Oh, really? Okay.
So there's like
Okay.
a couple like small cut things, like oh, I know that place, that sort of thing. But like Carrier Zone is very reminiscent of the Metal Harbor stage, for example. That's why everyone confused the two. Like there's clearly influences from the Afterburner stage in that stage. But it's more like reading between the lines rather than flat out. Here's Opa
that's
or
my
whatever.
issue here. Yeah, I want it to be like clearly a reference or something that is based on another Sega IP and not just Sonic.
I'm still not sure where Kraken Bay is from.
I feel like it feels like Secret Rings, but then you already have
It does feel like that,
Secret
yes,
Ring stage.
but that doesn't have a Kraken.
Is there Pirate Bay in Secret Rings?
Yeah,
Is
it
Pirate
feels like
something?
that,
There's
but I don't
Pirate
think
something.
it
Pirate
is.
Storm.
Pirate Storm.
There's a pirate
but-
world there, yes, and there is this like huge graveyard of pirate ships, just like in that.
Okay.
And it's raining, just like there, but there's no Kraken, and there's no
Hear
like
me out. Hear me
purple
out.
lights from
Hear me out.
the
Like a
ships.
dragon. Pirate
That's possible.
Yakuza.
It's
that is
Atlantis.
possible. That is possible. I don't know.
Hear me out. So I haven't finished Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. Oh my god, this is such a
What a
stupid name. No, it's just plain stupid.
No, it's just dumb. Yeah.
It's dumb. But I'm guessing there's a Kraken somewhere.
There is actually now.
Because they've referenced that
We
since
see
the
that
beginning
in
of
the
the
trailer.
Kraken in
We
Infinite
just see the
Wealth.
tentacles, but we do see.
There is a yes, I think there is.
yeah.
In Infinite
That's a
Wealth.
non-spoiler answer. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. There's a Kraken in Infinite Wealth, so maybe that's
What I
that's the
will
reference.
say as well, what throws it away from being a Secret Rings reference is the fact that Dinosaur Jungle is there, and it is named as Dinosaur Jungle.
Yeah.
So it can't be a Secret Rings reference. So therefore, it's clearly an Infinite Wealth / Pirate Yakuza reference, and I
But they can't
be
have
accepting
two
no further
references?
questions.
But yeah.
Yeah, but
Casey's not played it yet. I can't speak any further.
I mean, there is nothing named Kraken Bay in Sonic and the Secret Rings, so
yeah.
that's
what's in the name?
That's a giveaway that it's not a reference to that.
So was the museum in this event? Was the museum track in the event? Because I'm
Yeah.
trying to find
Yes.
I'm trying to find footage of that, but I can't.
There was.
Oh, so
Oh,
one
there
thing
we
I
go.
will say
There we go. And
is
as I say that, here it is.
there it is.
Here we go.
Yeah, one thing I want to say is the randomization. I get this is a small pool of players, and compared to the final game, a smaller pool of stages. The randomization, like when you'd actually all picked the tracks and it slimmed it down a little bit, was so weird. Like half the time when there was a CrossWorlds section, I'd almost always go to Casino Park. And I only played this stage that we're looking at here, Wonder Museum. I played it once in about 5 hours of playing. I played Water Palace more times than I can count, but I only went here once.
I played this several times actually for me. So
Yeah,
So that's why I was asking if the choices were always the same, or the known choice at least was always the same. Because you said I don't want to like play Kraken Bay like 5 or 6 times in a row. So that probably happened to you as well.
yeah, like it's since the known choice is not always the same, then you
Speaking
are
of which,
going
there's the devil.
to yeah, then you are going to have a risk of the next choice being
Oh, this is
well
the Galaxy Force stage, by
the
the
track
way.
that you did last race basically. And I'm sure that once they add more stages, the risk for that is lower. But I kind of still think that each experience, each race should probably be fully unique and not even open for the risk of repeats like this.
Okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I get it. This does look like Galaxy Force now that you mention it. So yeah, that would have
like when you initially enter, a lot of the background elements line up and stuff like that. I wouldn't have noticed it, but
no,
there
but
were
now
teams on the
that you've
case.
mentioned it, yes, for sure, of course. Okay.
Another once as long as we're talking about this, my feeling after having played it is that, let's say I pick Metal Harbor because I want to play Metal Harbor, and then because I timed it, I get to play that for 50 seconds, and then I'm teleported to somewhere completely different. And I'm not sure I like that choice. It's like, do I need to be teleported away to somewhere completely different that quickly when I can just pick another stage next time? Like, I'm not sure. Like, it's a fun idea on paper, but I'm not really sure what I think that it really adds. I'm not sure if I need to be teleported to somewhere completely different after 50 seconds.
So what I guess is going to happen, and since they're allowing you to customize your vehicles so much, I'm guessing you'll be able to customize races as well and remove the CrossWorlds mechanic entirely if you want.
Yeah.
But then that would mean, and this might be possible, that all the stages have a first track, a second track, and a third track. It's just that they are mixed.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Let's say that you can pick Kraken Bay as a stage, but then the second stage becomes the second lap.
Metal Harbor.
The second lap, becomes the second lap of Metal Harbor, for example, which we haven't seen yet. Like, what if that's the case? What if they just kind of mix them mix?
That's actually a good point, because the different laps. So each lap is different, even on the same track, right?
Yeah.
So so if you're playing Metal Harbor first lap, you move to another one, and then when you return to Metal Harbor for the third lap, the course is slightly different, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I'm guessing the second lap of Metal Harbor is also different. Slightly different course.
Yeah,
probably.
I would think that it's possible that, you, for example, you can pick to play Metal Harbor all 3 laps, and then you get to experience the second lap as well, which we didn't. But then when there's races, they kind of mix and match between them. Like, every stage has first, second, and third lap. It's just that with this experience, we never play them consecutively, one after another. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah. So that's actually a good point. I'm guessing when you create a private room to play with friends, you'll probably have the option to customize everything, CrossWorlds or not. Maybe would be fun to have first lap Metal Harbor, second lap Kraken Bay, third lap museum, something like that. That would have been,
I see.
Fully
that would
customizable.
Be interesting if you can really customize it that way.
But I'm guessing that's something that you have. Third lap. That's something that they'll, if at all possible, that's something they'll say for private rooms, for private sessions, not just something open to everyone. I'm guessing.
If they do that, I would be much more. Yeah, I would be much more interested in this idea, and maybe I would think that it adds a little bit more if you can just kind of mix and match yourself. Because then you really have the choice between I kind of just want to play Metal Harbor now and really enjoy that stage alone. Or I want a chaotic experience. I want the first one to be Kraken Bay. And then the second lap, I want the Water Palace. And then third lap, something completely different. that could be interesting.
I'm guessing.
I like that idea.
I'm not sure about the like the mix and matching part that I think would be interesting, but I'm not sure they'll allow you to customize your
But
gameplay
Casey, you
experience that
just
way.
got my hopes up. I want
Okay.
that now.
But
And now
what
you're
I-
saying
what I
it's not
think-
going to happen?
Wait,
I
wait.
want it.
Wait, but I think the thing that you want the most is
Don't you
probably
try to talk comedy
more.
with me. You already riled me up.
It's more probable that they'll add the option to remove the moving between
Yeah,
worlds and let
yeah,
you just play
probably.
one complete,
Yeah.
like 3 laps on the same stage and the same track. I think.
Yeah. The alternative
Happy?
is that there are only experiences that you can get through the second lap. Like, let's say, like we only seen. I keep picking Kraken Bay as an example. We've only seen that as a second lap kind of thing, and if
Okay.
you can't turn it off, then that would. Yeah, like I do think that eventually you are going to be able to choose Kraken Bay and then just play through that. The only option
Unless
is that
the tracks are not
the
designed
Kraken Bay
that
is
way.
only second lap thing, and you can never pick it. It's just like
That
it
doesn't
always
make much
only
sense.
shows up randomly for you, and that would not make sense.
Doesn't make sense. So let me get this straight. So how many tracks could you choose, like to start in? Do you remember? 6,
7, somewhere around
and
there.
none of those were the
Second
ones
laps.
that had
No.
the second lap option.
And yeah. No, you could never choose Kraken Bay. You could never actually choose Dinosaur Jungle.
Okay.
So like those were never choosable, and so they
Okay.
were only locked to second laps.
Okay.
Which I would feel is a shame if they kept it that way. I would kind of want to pick Dinosaur Jungle, for example. In that case, maybe it is the case where you don't like that.
No, I was going to say two things to that personally is one, Team Sonic Racing's customization was really robust. So there's a chance, like Casey says, there'll be a load of options for this. Two, staple of racing games, we've only had an experience of online, but time trials are really big in all 3 of these games. The previous Sonic
That's
ones
true.
and
Yeah.
racing games in general.
true.
How are you going to handle that if every time you go into a time trial, it might just be 30 seconds slower because you got sent to Galaxy Force level or whatever? Like, surely there's got to be something in there to, set.
Time trials. I thought you said
right?
time travel.
No,
Okay,
There's
I
time
got it.
travel in
I
this
got it.
game, as we all know. So
The thing is, it would be a shame to just lock that possibility of having like 3 laps on the same track, just locked to the time trial mode.
yeah,
It would be a shame if you couldn't customize your like multiplayer experience or even single player experience. Probably single player will be like this always, I'm guessing. Whatever
least,
the
like,
campaign
public
is.
lobbies.
But like in multiplayer modes, like online and with friends, like let us customize
again.
this. There we go, Kraken Bay.
Yeah,
Which we
Back.
actually haven't seen much of in terms of like footage that I'm showing, I think. So it's refreshing.
This is why I think that there is probably something to the idea that each stage does have a first, second, and third lap. It's just that here they are mixing in and matching it. For example, in time trials, then
So stuck on
you
this idea.
might want to choose. You might want to choose to have one experience. Otherwise, how do you decide if your time is good or not? If it's different every time,
time trials
doesn't make sense.
Will probably be like fixed to one track, to one specific track, I'm guessing.
But then, if you've already put in that effort, then surely they'd consider putting it into other modes as well.
That's what
potentially.
makes sense.
As I say, not public lobbies, but definitely at least like a private match or something like that. You've always had way more options in those historically, anyway, in these games. So
yeah,
it would make sense to bring it back in that sense, at least.
Sure.
I hope so. Anyway, I'm with you guys. I really hope more options, the better.
Yeah, for
indeed.
sure. Yeah, like people who like just like the controls. You want to change to the transformed or Team Sonic Racing controls? Sure.
Oh, thank you
Go
for
ahead.
that. Really?
Right?
Wow.
So people obviously want different things from these games. So the ability to choose and mix and match whatever you like, that's always welcome. I want to say though, and moving swiftly on to something else that I wanted to ask you guys, because I'm just seeing like recorded footage in 1080p graphics. What do you guys think? This is obviously not a final product. I'm especially Kraken Bay. It's like the bloom is real, but
the lot of bloom.
it's like Sonic colors.
Oh, sorry. What does bloom mean?
Like the saturation and the
blown out
blur.
whites almost.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry,
everything's very bright and.
Okay.
And I'm gonna try to like go back to
Pull up an
that.
example.
Go back to Kraken Bay, which is like things like. And even like this is slightly blurry as well, which is, I'm guessing it's like the vibe of the stage.
Yeah, but like the point is for like a very dark stage, there's a lot of like white and light to it. Almost. Like, a lot of shine like, coming off everything.
A lot of shine, but not wanting to influence you guys. What did you guys feel about the graphics in this?
I hadn't even noticed the bloom till you mentioned it, and now it's super obvious. But I genuinely thought it was really gorgeous. I was very impressed. I see why they, aside from money, I see why they chose to host this exclusively on PS5 to really. Well, it either had to be Xbox Series or PS5. Like of the platforms, they could have exclusively held this on to really show what it can do. Because obviously you could have PC, but people might have like potato PCs, and then all the footage is going to look rubbish that's going around on social media or whatever. So I get why they chose next gen only for this, because the next gen stuff does look really, really quite nice in my opinion. It's definitely a very different look to even stuff like Shadow Generations recently. I think it's a lot more cartoony in that sense. There's a lot less realism in a lot of its stage design and tracks. It's very vibrant as well, as you can see, aside from the bloom stuff that we keep going on about now. Keep going on about.
Just a remark. No, nothing, not really that, not annoying or anything.
I can't not notice it now that you mentioned it. But no, even discounting that, like it's a very vibrant looking game compared to, obviously, especially stuff like Shadow Generations and Frontiers, which were very muted. Right. It really stands out comparatively versus them, I'd say. But I really liked the way it looked personally. Like, look at this.
Yeah, this is
really
amazing.
Look at the stage much anymore, but I think it does look really good, especially. I think it was at 4K on the PlayStation.
Oh, look, it's Kraken Bay again. Sorry.
There it is.
I didn't think about the graphics at all, which is
that's also a sign of a good game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the point here. Like I didn't. That's a good thing. It's My reaction was not, oh, this looks horrible, or this is not. It's like, this is definitely what I would expect from a game like this.
From like a next gen Sonic racing game, right? Yeah. I want to say I noticed the graphics because I haven't played it, so I was just like looking at footage, and I love how detailed it is. Ocean Palace, for example, I don't really know what we looked at earlier, but that we were looking at one of your races, Lime. Maybe it's this part.
Here it is.
Maybe it's this part. There were some like details on the floor and like the
like reflections and
the reflections.
The way the light catches stuff is really cool.
It's really good, right? And like it's much more detailed than whatever we had. We had like Seaside Palace, wasn't it? In Transformed, I think.
Ocean View,
which potato, but this one is much more detailed. Like the architecture of everything is more detailed. The water is pretty good. Yeah.
The way it like splashes off the vehicles as well, adds a shine effect to the vehicles. Like there's a lot of tiny little details compared to most Sonic games, which just focus on the bigger picture for sure. I don't know. I'm a big fan of it.
Definitely a next gen game, right? So
been struggling for those. Like
definitely you should definitely play the Switch One version.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what we're saying.
It'll look best there. Or that 20-year-old laptop you have, that'll do as well, I reckon.
Exactly. So graphics is one thing. Soundtrack. I heard people complain about the soundtrack. when I say people, I saw one person, but it's okay. Let's say people. Thoughts, guys? It wasn't either review, so
Lime.
thoughts. Maybe didn't bother or excite either of you.
It bothered me, actually.
Okay.
Oh, you feel more strongly than I do. Okay.
It's not. I don't think that's the right direction. I personally, I think that they should have gone like with the more action-inspired style that they did in previous games. But here, I think that the choices of instruments are frankly weird. It's I don't know like how to explain it, but especially in the third lap of basically everything, they bombard you with what I just thought was kind of like weird sounds. I don't really agree with the style that they added there.
I like that. Like you're talking to the composer. Look, I don't agree.
Everything's wrong.
I'm hearing and I don't agree. Okay, so what I'm hearing now, I don't agree with that. What I'm hearing. So no.
Like a part on Metal Harbor in the original is like like it's like
definitely
this guitar kind of thing, but here it's like like I don't. It's
exactly like that.
I'm not sure about the choice. I don't agree with the choice. Like I'm bombarded with like weird sounds, and no, I don't.
We don't know who's behind this, but this is probably like Otani. You'd say
there's some.
I haven't heard anything. To be honest, I've looked at the footage, but I haven't listened to anything. So
there's weird potential with it because I don't know if you pay much attention to it, Lime, but the Casino Park remix sounded a lot like it should be in Team Sonic Racing. It did sound like an Otani track.
Oh yeah.
Whereas the rest of it, I couldn't tell you who's composing that. But
did they bring the Sonic Dream Team guy?
Yeah, it does feel a little bit Dream Team.
Nothing wrong with that
Dream
soundtrack, but
Dream
it's just
like a lovely ambient soundtrack.
Yeah,
and I think I'd take that over this.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Dream Team soundtrack, but yeah, here. Weird sounds, in my opinion. I don't understand that choice. I definitely think that they should go back to the more like action-oriented music. Personally,
so bring back Richard Jakes. Okay, yeah. So that's something that's still they're still able to work on.
Yeah, like there's some
maybe
bits that definitely strike me as not final in there. I don't feel as strongly about it as Lime does personally. I kind of like.
I was assaulted.
It felt very Mario and Sonic, like the early stuff, as opposed to the later stuff. For example, in terms of it's meant to feel like epic and like it's a big deal orchestra kind of thing. There's so much like fake orchestra in it, like synthesized instruments and stuff like that, that it almost makes me think you have a real trumpet player on hand. I half wonder if this is just a stand-in until they
could be
that.
Could be. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of like the that Lime's talking about is
could be like just placeholder stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
If that's in it, I'll just like I'll burn my copy of the game. I physically burn my digital copy of the game when it comes out. If that's like that, and you know,
people
I'm
going to hate
exactly
me
like
for
Lime's
this,
impression.
Exactly like yeah.
What I feel. It's what I feel.
Okay. I'm gonna clip that and I'm gonna compare it when the game comes out. Yeah, if that's it, nailed it. Yeah. Okay, so
you are going to find that it is close to.
Okay.
So
that's something to be. They're still able to work on. Probably just placeholder stuff because also it'll it also probably helped with like the size of it. That's the file size and stuff.
Yeah.
Because this is just a closed like beta or test or whatever it is. They're more focused probably on the connection stuff and like the online stuff than really the soundtrack. And they don't want
I
to.
hope.
We hope, yeah.
Fingers crossed.
They're still working on it. Hopefully. Okay. So before we wrap up things with like positive and negatives, like a sort of like rapid fire. What were the positives and negatives? But before that, so the online experience, you guys played against each other at
One
some point as
match.
well. One match, luck of the draw. So, thoughts on the online experience. Obviously, this is not even close to the final thing we'll have with a bigger like pool of players.
Yeah.
Cross-platform? Nah,
I think
not
it is.
likely.
I think they've already
It
said.
I think it is going to be a cross.
they
Yeah,
said
I think the Steam mentions cross-platform play.
Okay.
I think the Xbox page does as well.
In that case,
For once.
in
That
that
explains
case,
what the PlayStation Network logos as well on the footage if you go back to it.
so in that case, it's definitely going to be different. This was a much more contained experience and much easier on the servers and stuff. So this is not really something that can show us what the final product will be. But how was it? You mentioned
Confirmed.
like the
cross-platform multiplayer. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So do you guys, you mentioned like the waiting times were, like the matching times were quicker than in previous games, right?
Yeah. I honestly find it like a little difficult to tell because what this game does is, I presume it won't do it in the final, it smashes you into a brand new lobby the second you finish a current one. I assume you'll stay in the same room in the final game. My theory is so that it can like test as many network connections firing at each other at once for the sake of this network test. Like every time you connect, you've got to your network's got to communicate with 12 different people, right? So if they can make you do that once a match, they're going to get a lot of data. So I hope that's not how it works in the final, because I'd like to actually stay in a permanent lobby if I've got into one with people I like, or players I think, oh, they're really good at the game, I'd like to learn a little bit more, versus how it's currently handling it, a bit mobile gamey, versus like just throw you into a match, whoever's available, go, go, go. Really hope that's not how it works.
It's probably like more of like a stress tests situation here, right?
So it's a little difficult to like say how the final will go. There was still, compared to other games, it felt like quite a bit of downtime, but I don't know if you remember, like Sonic Racing Transform was like 2 minutes between matches. Team Sonic Racing was even longer than that.
Team Sonic Racing was really hard to get.
Yeah,
to get anyone to play. and
when
closer
you could
to
get
launch,
someone to play,
that's the thing.
It was really bad.
It was really bad. On
like
the I think on the PS4 that was my version.
Yeah,
the version that I
was
had.
The most active.
And that's it. That's the thing. That's really concerning. I was trying to find the footage, but I'll need to refer to Lime's timestamp because I can't find it on my own. Yeah, okay, there we go. So I wanted to show this a little bit where you guys got matched together here.
The only person I recognized, and like how I've meant like 50 plus people I knew were playing this weekend. Lime's the only one I ever matched with.
Yeah,
just
I was
by
hoping
sheer
to match
luck
with someone I knew.
We've been talking about it the night before, hadn't we? And then neither of us have found anyone, and by luck, there's Lime in my lobby.
There we go. At least once. Okay, and in terms of like the online experience, in terms of racing, any kind of lag or anything like that? No,
not really. Did I notice? I don't think. I don't know about you, Lime. I certainly didn't notice much.
I was thrown out several times because of the network
that
errors.
did happen. Yeah. Most of the time it happened for me pre-match. I think I had one time it happened at the start line.
Yeah, but in the race it didn't happen to me very often. But definitely in the lobby several times.
Look at the detail on the pavement here, on the road, the track itself.
Like you say, it really does feel next gen compared
it
to
does.
like
It
other
really
Sonic
does.
games we've still even had this generation. It's a real
That's
step
for
up
sure.
for sure.
For sure. Yeah.
5 years into this generation.
Finally. And you guys mentioned this is probably like a rank-based matchmaking process, right? So you
Yeah.
guys
Yep.
were, I think, Viper, you
Similar
were like
ranks.
C minus, Lime, you were C, so it's like
Oh,
similar
look, we're there
ranking.
together. There we are.
Yeah, you definitely noticed that in the matching, you were matched with the people who were ranked the way you were ranked.
Okay.
I don't quite know the exact specifics of how it worked, but my theory is I think you start at like E or D rank or something. I think you get put into lobbies with those people. Then once you were at like B to C, that was a lobby, and then A and S was its own lobby, which I don't think either of us ever reached. But I know there was a lot of people who I'm close with who played like however many hours. Some people I know of played like 12 hours a day, but all day,
Yeah.
so got into S rank. Of course, I never saw them, but I saw Lime who played about a similar amount of time as me. So
Yeah.
I think in that sense, it made sense once again, especially for the
Yeah.
network test to stop people from going, "Oh, I'm getting frustrated and leaving." It made sense to skill based, and I hope there actually is skill based.
Yeah, and even in like the real game, the final version of the game, it makes sense.
Yeah,
just to encourage people to keep progressing and finding people who have similar skills to them.
That's
right?
it.
Like,
I just hope when the lobbies are dead, like Team Sonic Racing, I can actually get into a lobby with someone even if they're
yes,
ranked
exactly.
S and I'm ranked
Yeah.
D or whatever. Like anything is better than nothing.
I'm guessing that's like if the worst happens that no one else is playing, you'll be matched with like that crazy person from Japan. It's like triple S
200
rank.
hours just
Yeah,
this
exactly. Something that I forgot to mention before, and I know that you guys have strong feelings about as well, and it's very important, is the items. Right? We haven't talked about the items, so we really need to do that before we go. Thoughts, basically. Too many?
It's very Mario Kart. Very Mario Kart.
Like in terms of the not being balanced, like the blue shell and stuff?
They balance themselves out, but see, I don't want to ever call like either of the 3 games that came before it quote skill based because they're really not. But there was certainly less emphasis on items and more emphasis on driving. Here, it felt like a number of times I went first to last or last to first, like back to back lobbies. Like one lobby I'd be 12th, next I'd be first, and there's like no rhyme or reason to my placings. So in that sense, I noticed one of the big criticisms, which I don't feel like is a criticism. I get it. It's how most kart races are now, but the number and volume of items on track at the time. Like sometimes you're around people and there's like 7 or 8 other items being launched just on screen, let alone at the front of the pack or anything, for example. There's a lot going on, way more than there was in the other Sonic Racing games that we've had before this. Like it's the concentration of items is way higher than before, which Team Sonic Racing had a lot of items, just maybe like 2 or 3 on screen at a time. This is more akin to like third lap, 7 or 8 items in play at any given time. There's a lot. So that also makes me wonder how Switch will run it, because that feels like a disaster waiting to happen. But yeah, I don't mind it as much, but there is a lot more of an element of luck. Like, as I say, I don't want to ever go as far as calling the other 3 games skill, because they're really not. There is still an element of using items, but
there was more skill involved than in Mario Kart, I feel. In terms of like being so reliant on items and luck.
Yeah, like a lot of being skilled in Mario Kart is being proficient with your items, whereas in those games, the skill came from using your items, but also knowing the course, knowing the layout. But this kind of feels like reverting to Mario Kart logic of you need to be good with your items, know when to use them, where to use them, etc. There's just going to be a lot on you at any given time, so just cope, basically. Just good luck.
Like good luck. You don't like it? Tough.
Yeah. I didn't even think about the balancing of it. I was just trying to figure out what everything does.
There's so many.
I was just like, okay, what does this do? And then I tried. Oh, okay, I see. Now, what does this do? And I just found myself not being able to be strategic with anything because I haven't learned what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
that makes sense as well. Yeah,
that
sure.
comes with time, of course, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but
It was
that looks like a lot. Like you have like a very wide row of items, like of monitors, and like 2 or 3 placed on top, maybe 2 perhaps, certain times. Can you store 2 items at the same time? Is that
I think
correct?
so. I think like
Yes,
Mario
and
Kart.
there is
Yeah.
makes a lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think there's even a gadget that makes you able to store a third one.
Was
Oh, okay.
I didn't notice that.
I think
Okay.
so. Don't quote me on that, but I think so. There was definitely an item that
There's a third gadget,
made you able
LimeReversed.
to choose between the items that you had. At least that I know.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So what I think one of the big takeaways from this is if you want to be strategic, the gadgets are the way to go. Like customize your
Yeah.
gadget slots and your loadout, and that's how you can definitely tweak the
Get a leg
gameplay. Yeah, and tweak the gameplay to suit your style.
Yeah. And hopefully they do it, balance that in a way so that there is no like one ultimate way to do stuff, so that you can still choose your style and still have a chance to win.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. So very quickly, guys, like 2 or 3 minutes. One positive, one negative for you guys. Like the positive and the negative from this whole experience. While you're thinking, I'm gonna say we don't really have like a definitive launch date. I guess it's just summer, if I'm not mistaken. For
I don't even
this,
think they've said that much, as far
not
as
really.
I know.
Is this just like my imagination?
I think it is just. I don't even think they've said a year. I don't think they said anything at all. But feel free
They said
to
they said 2025, haven't they?
Oh, they've at least said that much. Okay.
I think so. Right? Is it just me? Maybe not. Is it just wishful thinking?
I'm doubting myself.
No, I do think they said 2025. But maybe not in the season or anything. Is this like a holiday or like October, November release? What do you guys think?
Maybe
could be, right? Like they're
summer,
big.
But...
They're big Sonic release of the year, perhaps.
Yeah. I think they're probably aiming for autumn at this point, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
There's no release schedule you can look back on. When I was streaming it, I had to keep telling people this who came in and asked. We just celebrated the 15th of Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing last week, I think it was. Transformed was like, what, November? And then Team Sonic Racing was going to be that sort of time, and then was June because they delayed it like 6 months. So there's not even like a release pattern you can look at. It really just is when it's ready, I think, honestly.
I'm guessing the release pattern here is what's been going on with Sonic in recent years. I think wasn't my God, this is really bad. Frontiers. Was that autumn as well?
Or was it
like earlier? November, right? Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. Then we had Superstars.
Average.
November, I think. October, maybe. Yeah. Generations. So that's probably the pattern. Yeah, it's like the big Sonic release of the year. So yeah. Okay, enough stalling. The positive, the negative, please. Who wants to go first?
No take.
No. Lime.
For me, the positive thing would be that the transformed part is back. You can go by air, you can go by sea, and then of course in the car.
By land. Okay.
Yes, by land. That's awesome, and I love that. I guess the negative thing for me right now is just to summarize this with it's a lot of everything at the same time.
Not what I was expecting.
I was expecting. But
that's one of the things that is a lot.
That's okay.
It's just like, now I'm here. Oh, now I'm over here. Oh, there's music here. Oh, now I'm getting hit by everything. What are the controls again? Like, it's just so much. And some of the things are just something to get used to. So it's not like inherently bad, but it's a lot at the same time right now, which
a lot to handle.
Which I had a little difficulty with, because I was just very confused lots of the time.
Okay,
for me.
Okay, makes sense. Viper, positive and negative.
Positive for me, definitely just like increased speed and snappiness of just everything, like the user experience in terms of menus, the control and drifting and stuff like that, and the tricks, as we've established, you can make them even faster as well, but already thought they were pretty fast to begin with, unlike Lime apparently. So a lot of stuff like that. Just like the general flow and speed of the game being much faster. Everything feels snappier and tighter and more finely retuned than previous entries. So I hope they stick with it and just like continue with those finishing touches that, for me so far, have like made the game much more enjoyable than something like Team Sonic Racing, for example, which just feels slow and such a drag to play in terms of how fast the cars move, how slow the menu system is, how difficult certain things are to do in it versus its predecessors. Sonic Racing CrossWorlds definitely a step in the right direction. It's the fastest it's been to date, so just keep at it, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as for negative, the only big one I can think of is ba 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 ba. That's about it.
I would take that. That sounds better than whatever Lime did there.
Yeah. But that's got to be it for me. Like, just hope the soundtrack gets polished up, because that's such, as everyone's been saying with their criticisms, that's such a big part of Sonic and Sega games. I mean,
sure, for sure.
Funnily enough, you can guess that if you're listening to this on a certain platform, but like there's a lot in it. You're going to be hearing this a lot, especially compared to most Sonic games, if you're going to be playing these stages again and again and again. So there's a lot of work they need to put in to kind of get it up to snuff with not only the previous Team Sonic Racing, for example, but even just other Sonic games. It's really slipping below the bar, in my opinion, so far. Not as dramatically as Lime saying or anything like that, but it's definitely like not the standard we've come to expect. So I hope it has time to brew and improve and everything.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a positive person, so I'll say yes. These are just placeholder songs. They haven't had the time to record, to go to the studio and like hire the orchestra and stuff.
We'll see.
Otani.
I mean, maybe they'll listen to the, if they didn't have any plans.
I mean,
to change that, maybe they might after, like, if other people also
after
agree.
listening to this. Yes.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to say.
Everything else they were
to
fine
the
with.
Sega Lounge. Yes, of course. Not maybe after they listen to this specific episode of the Sega Lounge, as they do every week, like everyone else. They will definitely change things and improve.
If I may, like, I don't know, like, where we're going next, but like there are like some things about the gameplay that I had yet to bring up.
I was going to wrap up, but sure, if you can be brief about that, like 30 seconds or so. Sure.
I can in 30 seconds. No, indeed.
Okay. But
hold your peace then.
Briefly, very briefly.
One change: you can't fail stunts.
Which is great.
Can't? Oh, okay.
You can't. There is no such thing as failing like air tricks, which you could in the other ones. The Viper, you agree with that?
Yeah, I think that's a great feature personally.
Yeah.
He doesn't
just standardize it. No, actually, it's awful. I changed my mind.
No, Lime doesn't. I think.
Oh, really?
No,
No,
I don't.
Oh, okay. I thought.
Oh,
I
you
don't.
like
okay.
to challenge. You like to challenge. That's why.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I found myself just turning the auto tricks on. Because then what's the point? Like,
Yeah.
why am I moving if there's no risk reward here? It's just reward, basically. I'm just finding myself just like moving the thing back and
Fidgeting.
back and forth,
Perfect.
like with nothing. It's I definitely think that they removed the risk reward there.
I can get that. Yeah.
Yeah, make it more
Which is,
accessible, maybe.
yeah,
Yeah, to
yeah,
younger players. I don't think when you compare Mario Kart and Sonic Racing, all previous versions, Mario Kart is much more accessible, even to like little children and like younger players.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the demographic
Definitely
they're
part of
aiming
it.
at.
yeah.
Part of that, yeah. Like there's like the auto assist or whatever, the steering assist or whatever they call it in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which you'd guess you will never see or would never see in a Sonic racing game, but maybe that's part of it. That's like
Yeah.
to cater to those younger players.
If they could be thinking that, in that case, I'm a little bit confused about the what they do with the boats now, because like the way that you don't really drift and get a drift boost anymore. What you do is you hold the drift button, and even if you don't drift, and then you charge up a jump, and then when you jump, you get to do tricks, and then you can go
That gives you a
on your
boost.
way. And for me, that was like one of the things that was to me like a little too much as well, because I found myself like, okay, where am I steering now? Like, I need to drift. Am I even drifting? Is this even a drift right now? And then, okay, I jump, I charge it. Okay, so where am I going? And then, okay, I'm jumping now. Now I'm going to do tricks. Now I'm going to go back to steering. And now I need to charge it up again and like keep going back and forth between charging and doing tricks and steering at the same time. It was a little too much, I felt, to like do all of that compared to what they did in Transformed, for example, when, okay, you're a boat, but a drift is still a drift. It just feels a little differently. And
When is a drift not a drift?
Yeah.
In Sonic CrossWorlds.
And yeah, in Sonic CrossWorlds,
apparently,
a drift is not a drift.
A drift is a jump.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like they switch it around there a little too, which could be a good thing because it's variation.
It's different.
The only thing that I thought was it was for me a little bit too much, like doing all of that at the same time, like to
especially if you keep like the new control system, it seems.
Yeah.
Where you have to use the left thumbstick to do everything, like steer and tricks and stuff. So maybe that makes sense, right? Yeah. I'm guessing the thing is they want to try something new every time. We don't really have continuity in this series, if this is still a series,
because continuity full stop.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm guessing this is the second one in the series, Sonic Racing.
Yeah.
I mean, the other ones was
Sonic
and Sega, so
no, but the previous one is Team Sonic Racing. That's different.
But that's Sonic Racing, so
yeah, the previous one's the Apple Arcade game, of course.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true. But I think that's probably the biggest. As a person who hasn't played the game, I think that's the main criticism I have. Not just for this, but for the whole series, if you will. It's like the lack of continuity after Transformed, right? Because, I mean, All Stars Racing and Transformed were pretty much like, you could see the evolution, but now they're just trying more and more things, which can be good.
Sticks.
Sorry?
Throwing it at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like that's little bit of what's involved in developing process, but maybe not. Maybe this is like
The motto of Sega HQ.
Yeah. But I'm really curious to see how they pull this off, if they pull this off, and if people will enjoy it. Because I'm guessing my takeaway from this is you guys enjoyed it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Yes, definitely.
Like the overall feeling is positive.
Yeah,
sure.
I find myself wanting to go back and just learn everything
Just
that
get confused as to whether it's a
that I
jump
didn't.
or if it's a drift.
Yeah. I mean, I
miss
like
it.
even after having played it like as many times as I did, which is still not a lot, but still like a few. I never really got into getting the hang of the boat, for example.
I'm on a boat.
But I feel like with more training, I definitely might, and maybe I'll just start to feel like I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I feel like this is just the first in what will probably be a series of a few events like this throughout the next few months. So I'm guessing we'll have more chances to talk about this and discuss whatever evolution there is, if any. I'm hoping, yes, there's going to be a lot of evolution and tweaks based on everyone's feedback from this first closed beta. But we're definitely have more chances to talk about this and discuss this at length. Hopefully next time I can join, unless it's on the PS5, or maybe I'll
you're
have
the
to.
one who
I
will
have
be
to.
accepted next time.
Sorry.
Maybe you're the only one next time who will be accepted among us.
Could be.
You're gonna have
But
to talk about it to us.
I'm gonna. Yeah, you'll ask me questions and I'll share my thoughts.
Casey, how was it? We'll listen to the episode and find out.
Exactly. No, we can talk. No. Listen to the episode, like Otani does every week. Hi, Tamoya. Anyway, so guys, our time is up. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.
Would you guys like to tell people listening in where they can find you on the interwebs? Viper.
Sure. You can catch me at the GreenViper8 on most platforms, but particularly on radiosega.net. I host the weekly Pick and Mix, Fridays at 7 p.m. UK time. No idea what will be on during the week whenever this goes up. I don't know what I'll be up to, so can't give you that much info, but
who knows?
Feel free to listen in. Otherwise, at the GreenViper8.
Excellent. Lime.
You can find me on most platforms as well, LimeReversed, but specifically on Twitch, where I 100% games.
Excellent. And as for the Sega Lounge, you can find us on most platforms as well, but particularly on Radio Sega and your podcast host of choice every week.
And if you're on the video, the ones at the bottom.
Yeah, you can just find them there. Terra Player, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, all that jazz. Thank you for watching / listening. Hopefully you enjoyed their thoughts, actually, not mine, their thoughts on Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. And we'll be back next week with another episode of the Sega Lounge, probably dedicated to another game that's current. We'll see. Come back next week to find out. Bye-bye. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.